please.
All right, well, I'm really glad for those that were able to come today. I was in Costa Rica for a good portion of the beginning of the year, and while I was down there, I decided to visit some friends of mine, which is Dr. Walter and his wife, Florence. His wife was the one who was in charge of our trip last year to Israel, so that's how I met Florence. And while I was down there, Dr. Walter said, well, why don't I do an analysis of you? And I said, all right, fine, you know, whatever. And when he did the analysis, he was able to determine issues that I knew I had had for long term. I mean, several years, they were chronic, and I wasn't able to get any real, I didn't bother to go for any medical attention, but some of it was pretty serious. I had a kidney and bladder infection, and I had also a really bad cough. I don't know how many of you remember, but I used to cough all the time. And people used to think I had something wrong, and I kept going to the doctor and kept checking my respiratory to see what was wrong, and like no problem there, but I just kept coughing and I didn't know what was going on. So Dr. Walter, when he evaluated me, he was able to tell me that the cough was not respiratory, it was actually digestive. I had a virus. A specific virus was in my intestines, which was causing the coughing. So I started to use the sprays. He'll explain all that in a minute, but I started to use the sprays because I was also having an issue with continence, believe it or not, because of the bladder and kidney infection.
For how many years?
It's at least 3 or 4 years, at least. And I took his, you know, whatever he told me to do, I obeyed him to the T for about, what, 5 or 6 days?
After a while, not at the beginning, but...
5 or 6 days. And the incontinence went away, my cough went away, just all kinds of things were happening that were all positive. And then right before I left to come home, because I was there at the very beginning of my trip, and I was there for 2 months. So before I left, I went back to see them again a week before I left Costa Rica. And he tested me, and the kidney infection and all that was gone. The virus in my digestive was gone. But then he said, wow, you are just loaded with mercury. He said, what did you do? And I'm like, you know, I don't know, but, you know, and so we started talking. He said, well, did you eat a lot of fish? And I'm like, well, I had fish. He goes, yeah, but it wouldn't account for the amount of mercury that's in your system. And then I thought about it, and from before I had seen him, or when I first saw him to when I came back to see him, I had had extensive mouth work done while I was down in Costa Rica, and I had had 8 Novocaine needles, and they were loaded with mercury. And so he, you know, when I said, oh, I had all this mouth work done, he's like, well, how many Novocaine needles did you have? And I said, 8 large needles, because of all the work they did in my mouth, and he's like, that's where the mercury's from. So then he had to treat me, obviously, for that, which is something that I want to say to all of you, that we encounter different things every day. Even if you get in like if you've already signed up for an evaluation with Dr. Walter, understand that what he finds today, he can work with and help you get rid of, but just like, I don't know if you're familiar with chiropractic or other things, you know, things come up in our lives where we might end up getting like mercury in our mouth from having needles, or you know, other things happen where you take a chemical that you didn't realize, or somebody had a virus in their food and they gave it to you. And so, you know, it doesn't hurt to keep like a maintenance program is what I'm saying. Like you check in with them every so often and say, hey, you know, how are things going? Am I still good? Just kind of keeping things in line so that you keep your body well. But anyway, I was so impressed with what he did with me that we were sitting around the table for lunch, and I said, you know, I have so many friends back home that have major issues, major medical issues, that are in pain all the time, or, you know, have chronic situations, and I said, I would give anything for you to be able to talk to them and to, you know, offer something, you know, here in the States. And so we negotiated, we talked about it, and he said, how about if I train you, I'll train you to make the treatments, and we'll work together and do consultations and so forth and so on. So I said, and then they found out, he and his wife found out they were coming up here for next week to go to a conference for Israel in New York City next week. And so I said, well, since you're coming here anyway, do you think you could come like a week early maybe, do a little presentation, and then maybe we could have some evaluations for some people? And he said he would do that, and I really appreciated it. So all the way from Costa Rica, this wonderful doctor, Dr. Walter, I hope you give him a really good welcome, and it's all yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Doctor means healer. Medical doctor means somebody that studied in a medical school under the patronage of the pharmaceutical companies. So a nurse is a doctor. A healer from an Indian organization is a doctor. I'm a doctor. I'm a healer. Okay, I just don't use pharmaceuticals. Okay, and it's not that I don't recommend them. I mean, if I go for dental work, hey, shoot me. I mean, forget it. I mean, if I get a broken hand, forget it. You're gonna put those bones together. I mean, pass me out immediately. I mean, and then deal with it later. But those pharmaceuticals, day to day, is what you have to be careful with. Okay, and we have to choose. I'm going to teach you a way where you can choose better than worst. You can choose, if you have to take some pills, you can choose something that is not so offensive for you. We have the intrinsic ability to do that. We said in the beginning, before, that anything that is matter has energy, right? Therefore, you are full of energy. Every organ as an organ is vibrating at a specific frequency. I'll be explaining what a frequency is later on. And that you are composed of atoms, and the atoms are bound together, and they form different molecules and different types of tissues. In the area of hard tissues, I name 7 hard tissues, which is bone, cartilage, ligaments, muscle, skin, elastic tissue like your veins and your arteries, and I'm missing one. And tendons. I missed that one before. And tendons. Okay. Those hard tissues are formed by minerals, some protein, lots of minerals, and lots of fats. Omega 6, 9, 12, 3. And most of us, we don't eat enough. We don't process correctly those minerals in order to rebuild that tissue. So that's why it's so common for most people to have problems with arthritis, fibromyalgia, deterioration of tissue capacity in the body. So molecular energy is the ability of us to determine why we get sick, what made us sick, what our nutrition level is, and how we can balance all these things so we can get better. Okay? How many people have seen here or have had electrocardiogram done? Most of you. So let's say that the heart goes up like that, and then goes up like that, and again goes up like that, and goes up like that. That's the normal frequency of the heart, let's say. And let's say that it's working okay, beating at 70 cycles per minute or 80 cycles per minute. And let's say that then it's beating at 80. Okay? But maybe when you saw your electrocardiogram, it wasn't necessarily doing that, but sometimes all of a sudden it just went click. It's going beep, 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 beep. Do you see that, any of you, in your heart? And sometimes we continue to do the green area, okay? And sometimes when we come down, would be a little skip. And then would continue beep again. Did anybody see that in your electrocardiogram? No? Yes. Or maybe they didn't show you the screen, which is usually what they do. They don't show you the screen, they tell you, oh, you're okay. So I'm sitting over there because the patient is not looking at the screen. I'm sitting over there with somebody, and I said to the doctor, why those skips? Oh, that's nothing, that's normal. That's what he said. He has no way how to fix that. In applied physics, we say that if we combine these two frequencies, then we're going to get, what do we get if we combine those two frequencies? Anybody here can tell me? The accountant? What do you get if you add 8 and 4? 12, and you divide it by 2? You get 6 as an average. So if we were to combine these two frequencies between here and here, this is no good. Between here and here, we will get a frequency to about here, right? That's applied math, that's applied physics. So, if any engineers here, any electronic engineers here, so if I ask an electronic engineer to reprogram that electrocardiogram machine, and I say, put a little button that says, normalize. Then that little button, what it would do, will play into the patient the frequency of 80 clicks per minute. Or if it was a woman, maybe 70 clicks per minute. And then what would happen with the two frequencies? It would get better from here to here. This is applied math. That would be possible. But they don't do it. They'll give you a chemical. They'll give you something to offset your blood pressure. Okay, so that's applied physics. That's a frequency. So there's a difference between a frequency. This height over here or here is called the amplitude. Okay? So I'm going to explain what the amplitude is. Let's say I get a balloon. And the balloon, I blow it up to this size. Okay? Now I'm going to expand the amplitude. How would I expand the amplitude? I put more air to double the size. What happens to the balloon? It pops. It pops. And guess what? By applied physics, we can do exactly that with pathogens. Virus, bacteria, parasites, funguses, and toxins. We can make them pop. Virus, bacteria, parasites, funguses, and toxins, they eat you up. They do what they're supposed to do. Once your immune system is low, okay, they go in and work before the worms come in. They're going to eat you up. So our immune system keeps them away from us. We have a defense mechanism. We have a shield, which is our immune system. So when you get contaminated by dirty water or whatever, then we get polluted and it starts to deteriorate our system. So we pop them at the micro level. And then your body excretes that and goes away. Amplitude. Our machine takes a frequency of a virus, bacteria, parasites, which that's all science. There's lists and lists and lists of virus, bacteria, and parasites, fungus, toxins, and chemicals. That's very well known. But the machine raises the amplitude. If this is the normal amplitude, which is this height, it raises it 4 times. We call it 4x. 20 times. We call it 20x. 50 times. And way out there, somewhere out there, 200x. The scientists, over many years of experimentation, they found out that those cycles of amplitude pop the pathogens. Every organ has its own vibration. Every suborgan has its own frequency. How do we nullify chemicals? How do we detox chemicals from the body? Every chemical has a frequency. As for example, mercury vibrates at 125. And mercury is the #1 cancer producing in the world, followed by lead with 122 hertz, and followed by copper with 345. So what we do, in order to nullify the energy of mercury in the body on copper and lead in case somebody has cancer, plus chromium, cobalt, fluor, germanium, molybdenum, some of the other heavy metals, is we play that frequency into the human body, we direct that frequency to the body with an amplification 4 times, 20 times, 50 times, 200 times. So the vibration, we pop the mercury. Once we sprayed once, we popped the mercury, like you said, and that popping lasts between 30 and 45 minutes. So when somebody has cancer, I said, just apply to yourself that amplification to nullify the effect of the chemicals every 30 minutes. Why am I saying every 30 minutes? Because then, during the 16, 18 hours a day that the person is spraying, those heavy metals will be popped. They won't have any side effects on that person. So at that person, the body starts to now to excrete that heavy metal, because now it doesn't have the energy. So we are unbinding it to whatever is bound itself by the molecule, by the atoms of those molecules, and then the body starts to throw it out. And the body starts to rebuild, then fight that cancer. So we don't cure cancer. We just give the body the ability to defend itself from it. What else do we do? Find out what kinds of things the person was eating, doing, consuming that contains those heavy metals to stop that. Substitute the products for other products that don't contain that, so that you don't keep offending that body. Heavy metals in common medication, preservatives, and active ingredients. What's an active ingredient that they put in a pill? It could be a chemical that numbs your nerve system so the headache goes away, or your neck pain goes away and you feel more relaxed, or your body pain goes away. It doesn't go away, it stays there. It's just that the neurological path of communication to your brain, into your neurons that sense pain, is nullified, so the information is cut off, so you don't feel that. But the problem is still there. So we want to go after the underlying issue that caused the problem, not to hide it. If we hide it, it's going to be lingering in your body, and you try to do something with all kinds of medication that would cause side effects. So cell deterioration in the body, which is rheumatism, arthritis, fibromyalgia, neuropathy, neurasthenia, Charcot syndrome, and all of those, they're exactly the same thing. They come from the inability of the body to reproduce itself at the cell level. And it's caused by cell deterioration due to chemicals. Once the organs or suborgans go down in the inability to be able to reproduce themselves, then the opportunistic pathogens start to move in. Who are the opportunistic pathogens? Bacteria, virus, parasites, fungus, and toxins. One thing we ask here in this practice is we are trying to let you know how to eat better, how to conduct your life in a better way so that you don't get these sicknesses and then you start getting rid of them. Cell deterioration leads to tissue deterioration. Minerals are not processed. And in science we call that metabolites. Minerals are not processed. Then when minerals are not processed, fats, cholesterols go up. Anybody who has high cholesterol is going to show problems in the tissue deterioration, hips, shoulders, tunnel carpal syndrome. It's going to show problems in the kidneys. Might show problem of retention in the bladder, because the minerals that are being formed in the kidneys condensate in crystals, and those crystals are going to rupture as you go to the bathroom. And then the pathogens that you normally dump through the urine and the feces now going to lodge themselves in there, and they're going to find a nice broken tissue they can live on, and then now you have the infection. When the doctors come over and give you a shot of pills for bladder infection, it might take the infection away for a while, then it's going to come back because they didn't take the cause of the infection away, which was the fact that you were dumping the minerals because you were not absorbing them. Now, if you don't absorb the minerals that are processed by cholesterols, which are fats, then those fats are going to accumulate where? In the arteries. Now you end up with high blood pressure now. Now your cholesterol is high. We're going to give you a little pill for high cholesterol. Now your cholesterol is high. Now then you're going to have to start taking the blood pressure pill because you have high blood pressure. But it doesn't heal you either. It's a vicious cycle. Then there will be some digestive issues because now the liver, gallbladder are not going to work correctly, and then the person might end up with gallbladder stones, with liver stones. There's such a thing as a liver cleanse when you can do certain things to be able to dump those stones out, but you need to change your eating habits. Costa Rica is in the first 5 places in the world in gastric cancer. It starts with eating white flour and ends up in taking pharmaceuticals to take the pain away, constipation away, gas problems, sounds in your stomach, and all kinds of the gastric issues away. Then now cancer comes in, especially in the large intestine or the colon. I'm talking about white flour. I like to do a test with whole wheat flour and white flour with somebody else. Okay. Stand this way now. Strongest arm that way. It's better when you do this test, it's better if you keep this arm really straight here and don't go like this, and just keep your arm straight like that. Now this is standard. Open your legs a little bit. Now don't push me because I'm going to fly that way. Just keep your arm towards me, and then when I push, you resist, okay? It's not a tug of war. I just want you to I just want you to feel the strength. Yeah. I just want you to feel the strength right there. Okay, let's see if you can win. Right here, hold it where the product is. Okay. Come on. Tell him what happened.
It's true. I'm weak.
You're weak. You lost the strength. Now let's try it with whole wheat flour.
She knows me. Now she believes.
Okay. Okay. So, whenever you eat something with white flour, how much energy is your body getting when, by a simple arm test, through her coat, through the plastic, it weakened her. So if I'm eating something that is not alive, that is weakening me, what's happening with my body? How many years I'm going to live? So white flour is the #1 ingredient we eat in the world. The white flour from Spain, from Europe, from Italy is much better than what I'm holding here. When I go to Europe, I eat bread. I try not to eat as much if I find whole wheat bread or bread with seeds, or nuts. I'm always going to choose that one. Because I'm always going to try to choose what is better for me. But the way they make flour over there is totally different. So I'm going to give you a recommendation about pasta. Do not buy pasta made in this country. Buy pasta from Europe. So you are flowing into that 90-10 rule. Now you're getting rid of the 90% and eating that 10%, which is less offensive for you. So that's a very good principle. So Italian pasta is much better for you. It's made with white flour, but it's a kind of white flour that European norms are very different than North American norms for the white flour. The water has all kinds of incredible properties. There's a famous scientist that he was brought to the States right after the Second World War. And basically he died here. He was crying out, really crying, very sad, saying, "They stole all my inventions. They stole everything they had. They made nothing out of me." His name is Victor Schauberger from Austria. Victor Schauberger observed the running water in brooks, and he observed how the fish used to move up the stream. So I leave it as a homework. Investigate about Victor Schauberger and the properties of water. How the water, once it gets starting to get very cold, close to freezing, changes its structure and its resistance. So since long ago, they found out that frequency could be stored in water, and that's what we do with this little machine. And we program these frequencies, into this bottle, and I've created a whole bunch of treatments that are for your body. There's about 15 treatments that we have all together. So since I'm a mathematician, and math and physics, we always work with formulas. So from the formula idea, I was always looking for formulas to give to people so that it was easier to do things instead of complicated things. So if we all have a digestive system, I discovered that at the beginning when I started with this, that if you had a stomach issue, and I made a special treatment for you for the stomach, then it worked very well. I mean, whatever you had in the stomach started to go away, but then it migrated to the kidneys, migrated to the liver, migrated to the lungs, and then you came back with a cold, or you came back with a headache because it migrated to the head, and then created a side effect. And I used to get so upset about it. I mean, they became my enemy. Lots of prayer, lots of meditation, lots of experimentation to how to get rid of those side effects. So I discovered through a lot of experimentation that I could make one treatment for the digestive system, because I discovered that all of the areas from the mouth to the rectum are compatible. Can you imagine the mouth compatible with the rectum? Well, they are. I found that out. So I created one treatment that treats all of those things. And I put all the antidotes, so I put in that treatment all the frequencies that's got to do with all those organs: mouth, throat, stomach, gallbladder, liver, pancreas, small, large intestine, colon, rectum. So when you start to treat yourself with it, they're not going to migrate to the liver. They're going to try to migrate through the bloodstream into the lungs or through the lymphatic system somewhere else. So I'm trapping them now. So they're going to have to go out with the feces or try to migrate to the lungs. So they're going to migrate to the lungs and find out that you have an issue with the lungs. It's a little bit weak, so I'll give you the one for respiratory. Nose, trachea, bronchioles, lungs, kidney, because the blood is there. The lung communicates with the kidney. And then lymphatic system is connected to the lungs. So now I don't let them go in there because the lymphatic system is already protected also. But then it might escape through the bloodstream into the head. So if something weak at the head level and you get headaches or you get stress or whatever, now I give you head, brain, neurons, lymphatic system, spinal cord. So I don't let them go there. So but if you have an issue with your heart, then I do one for the heart. It's called heart, cardiovascular, heart, blood stream, arteries, veins, lungs, because the blood goes into there, kidneys, the blood goes into there, spleen, the blood goes into there. So I don't let them go through the bloodstream. They're going to have to move out through the lymphatic system or through the feces or through the urine. So all of a sudden you are protected because you're attacking them in all corners, from all angles. So you see changes in a matter of days, in a matter of hours sometimes. So I want to do an experiment here. Who has some sort of pain right now, some sort of issue, some sort of symptom? What kind of symptom? Right now it's hurting. Is it hurting? You can feel that pain. Could you come here for a moment? I'm going to give an example of resonance. Okay, could you, what's your name?
Pearl.
Pearl. In a scale of 1 to 10, I want you to gauge that discomfort to 10. Okay?
Maybe 5.
No, make it 10.
10.
Okay? Make it 10. I want you to up the scale to 10.
Okay.
Okay. Now, I'll give you something that resonates with these tendons over here. Where is the pain?
Actually, my wrist.
Your wrist. Okay, that resonates. I'm going to give you something that resonates with your wrist. That's got to do with the bone structure, the ligaments and the tendons over here, okay? And then that resonance is the frequency of those tissues in there, but I have already programmed the antidotes that she needs to help that issue. So the frequency that I have in here, which is the frequency of the cells, are going to resonate with her cells in the wrist. But I'm transporting the antidotes. So I'm going to have her hold on her hand the treatment that is called for that, to see if that resonance comes down. Remember that the two frequencies over there with the heart, and then if I combine those, then the level should come down, the symptoms should come down. Let's try it out. I didn't know her until she came today. So I didn't pay her to do this test. She's not getting any commission for that, regardless of her response. So the first one I'm going to give her is something called metabolic. So when she holds it, the resonance that is programmed in here is going to go through her body. So remember, it's 10. If it goes down, you're going to tell us. Move it around.
It's gone.
How much? From 10 to?
I don't feel anything.
Magic. What is magic? The inability of us to know how it happened. Magic doesn't really exist.
That's incredible. That really is.
You can sit down.
Thank you.
And we all have this ability. But is it magic? I just proved to you scientifically how it works. I just drew the formulas over there, not the formulas, but the graphs, how it was going to work. Now I'm trying to prove to you that this works. Yes?
Yeah, well, a little bit of a cough. I'm overcoming kind of, but I've had like a chronic sore throat that's on and off for over a year.
Okay, but since we're going to do a quick test over here, let's talk about the discomfort. Can you measure the discomfort over here on a scale of 1 to 10 as being 10? Sore throat, scratchy.
Like this in here a little bit.
Okay, can you come here? What is your name?
Debbie.
Debbie. Where are you from?
Originally?
No, from around here.
Oh, Downingtown.
Okay, wherever that is. So, the first one I'm going to give her is respiratory. We'll see if this one works for her. I can run a test and find out exactly which one works for her, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to have her, you're going to hold her in your hand, and you're going to tell us if the symptom goes down. Now it's 10, if it goes down to 9, to 7, to 8, to 5, or to 0.
Okay. Okay, I still have it.
Is it 10?
No, it's less. Wait a minute, it's vibrating. It's, I don't know.
Give us a wild guess. Your best guess.
It's probably like a 3. It's really reduced.
Wow, 3, okay. Let me give you another one, which is going to be cellular. Cellular helps to rebuild, helps you to get rid of whatever stuff in the cell rebuilding capacity of your body. So it strengthens that area.
Post-nasal drip is probably the thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cellular has also lymphatic, which is that post-nasal drip thing.
Oh, okay.
Post-nasal, I'll just repeat it for her. Post-nasal drip is also another issue that she has.
And you said lymphatic. Okay.
Yes.
I do have a problem with my lymphatic system.
She has a problem with the lymphatic system as well.
Mm-hmm.
All treatments deal with the lymphatic system, but I will have one specific treatment just for the lymphatic network especially when there are lymphomas, tumors or aberrations with the lymphatic system and the collectors or the capillary lymphatic vessels.
I'm getting choked up. Okay,
She's getting choked up.
Wow.
Why? This stuff is flowing down now. The openings of the lymphatic system are starting to get unclogged, so the stuff is draining from her head, coming down to the throat.
I'd say it's gone.
Now it's gone.
It's gone. Yeah. Yeah, it's really good. Thank you very much.
Okay, let me treat her. Yes. Hi. What is your name?
Susan.
Susan.
I have two things. One is I have this thing in my wrist. I had it diagnosed. It's called Corvin's tenosynovitis or something. It's something.
It's called something with the tendon.
Yeah.
Unpronounceable. Something in the wrist that it hurts. Does it hurt all the time?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
And more when I sleep. Yeah.
It's not translatable, so let's leave it like that. I mean, it just hurts and constantly hurts, right?
Yeah, when I do certain movements. Yeah.
When she does movement, it hurts. And that's it.
Well, I've also have my immune system needs to be charged.
Okay, that's
I've had.
make an appointment with her.
Yeah.
Okay, but let's talk about this one for now.
This one
Okay.
is pain.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the pain when you move the wrist is, make it 10.
It's 10.
It's a good 10. Okay.
It's a good 10.
Okay. And I'm going to give her both metabolic and cellular. How many times have you used metabolic and cellular because people are in constant pain?
Either
Self-reproduction, doesn't matter. Even in the left hand. Why there's no difference between right hand and left hand for her to hold it? Because the electricity, the frequencies work at the speed of light. It's all over her body. Boom, instant.
There is absolutely no pain.
She said there's absolutely no
None.
pain.
Nothing. Nothing.
Can you do me a favor?
Yes.
There's a swimming pool over there. Could you go and walk on water, please?
Thank you.
You're welcome.